Under a court order, the state of Florida must now provide kosher meals to state prison inmates. The prison system is $58 million in the hole, and the kosher meals cost more than quadruple the cost of ordinary prison fare. What a great time for a revival of Judaism to break out in the big house. I'm PJTV's Scott Ott, joined now by Stephen Green and Bill Whittle. And men, it seems that prison food can get a bit dull. And when the announcement was made that Jewish prisoners could get kosher meals, the population of observant Jews swelled noticeably, even among those who did not previously count themselves among the chosen. The state of Florida, faced with millions in additional food expenses, fought the U.S. Justice Department, but lost. Now, Stephen Green, if the Muslim inmates at Gitmo get halal meals, what's wrong with kosher for our own local convicts?
Well, that's the trick, isn't it? Once you open the door with the halal meals, you've really opened the door for everybody and whatever their dietary laws are in their religion. Look, my hat is off though to these prisoners for a good scam. I am ethnically half Jewish, but I wasn't raised in the faith. I've never practiced the faith. But back when airlines still served actual food instead of just throwing bags of potato chips at you, I would always put in an order for the kosher meal because it was better food, it was higher quality food, it was tastier food. So these guys have found a way to get better than average prison meals, and well, you can't blame them for wanting to do that. But if there's a solution to this, here's what I'd offer. Instead of just having prisoners do nothing but learn how to become better criminals and lift weights, instead, they can grow or slaughter their own food, whatever they want, but they got to do the work themselves. They got to farm the land, they got to grow the hogs, they got to do whatever it takes.
Well, Bill, one of the things that makes the United States exceptional is respect for individual rights, including religious freedom. Now, even if some inmates are gaming the system to get better food, isn't it worth the additional cost to make sure we're protecting the civil rights of the truly devout?
It's an interesting test case, I just realized, for so many of the problems that plague society, and that problem is this. You identify a need that seems to be a legitimate need, you put a solution to that need in place, and then all number of people who have no ethics or honor game the system in order to get that need, or that former need, and take advantage of people's honesty and take advantage of decency of people, even in a jailing situation. It's been my experience, and I think you can back this up with statistics, that the chosen people do not make up an extraordinary large population of the population of the big house, right? So it's not like this is a gigantic problem that has to be addressed. So I think it's actually very simple. I would apply the same standard to this I would apply to anything else. I would mean test the access. If you claim to be an observant Jew, I'd ask you, as I have a rabbi come in and ask a series of 10 or 15 questions, talk with you for 15 or 20 minutes. You can determine in a very short period of time, indeed, whether or not you are such a devout Jew that you have to have your own special meals. And of course, most everybody would fail that test. Now, the interesting point about my particular solution is this. If somebody really wants those meals badly enough to study Judaism, for example, badly enough to pass a test with a rabbi so they can get the good meals, they might actually learn something worthwhile to keep them out of the big house in the future. So that would be a win-win all across the board. But no, I don't think we have an obligation to simply hand this out to anybody who asks for it. I do think that as decent people, we have a moral obligation to provide people who are held against their will with a diet that they can eat in peace.
Well, you don't lose all your rights when you're sent to prison, but you do lose a fair amount of freedom. Nevertheless, this nation under God and these United States have always given a wide berth to religious freedom. In the case of convicts, perhaps it's, as Bill suggests, worth the price to allow dietary variety for the faux faithful, the goyim gourmands, if you will, on the off chance that the observance will lead to repentance and reform. But I find it odd that a Justice Department that makes a big fuss about the separation of church and state is actually forcing taxpayers to foot the bill for religious activities behind bars. Perhaps we should turn this over to the faith communities themselves. Let them determine who adheres to their religion, and then let them raise the funds to pay the upcharge for the special meals. For Bill Whittle, Stephen Green, and the entire Trifecta crew at PJTV.com, I'm Scott Ott.